Tonight on NewsWatch, appealing to the faithful. Conservative candidates try to run the good race to the White House. Plus, the deadly attacks in Ethiopia. Muslim extremists kill one man and leave thousands homeless in a war on Christians. And abortion by remote control? How some clinics use the internet to perform abortions without a doctor's presence. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. And good evening, everyone. I'm Lee Webb. The 2012 Iowa presidential caucus is 11 months away, but Republican hopefuls are testing the waters already. 5 prospective candidates made their cases at the Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition Forum. It is an important event that caters to a crucial block of Iowa voters. John Jessup has more in tonight's top story.
5 GOP hopefuls
do the right thing,
made their political pitches to woo voters in Iowa, a state that launches presidential campaigns. Their back-to-back speeches shared 2 overall prevailing themes, criticizing what they call President Obama's leftist agenda and honoring America's religious heritage.
We need to remember this and always remember it. The Constitution was designed to protect people of faith from government, not to protect government from people of faith.
Their speeches touched on everything from cultural issues like marriage,
for the President of the United States to order the Justice Department to not enforce the Defense of Marriage Act. That was not right.
energy policy, and controversial subsidies.
Ethanol takes 4 rows out of 10 of every cornfield. 4 rows out of 10 that doesn't go to hungry people or necessary people. This is not right.
To proven moral leadership.
It's one thing to stand up in front of a group and talk about all the things that you believe in. It's another thing to go out and lead and fight for those beliefs.
The event, tabbed the Faith and Freedom Coalition's spring kickoff, gave these Republicans a chance to connect with evangelicals in Iowa and explain how and when religion and politics ought to intersect. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, who launched his exploratory committee last week, painted a picture of what his first day in the Oval Office might look like, suggesting that he'd reinstate President Reagan's policy to prevent American taxpayer money from funding abortions in other countries. He also stressed the idea of limited government.
You are personally sovereign. You loan power to the government. The government does not loan power to you.
As for other Republicans with an eye on the White House, like Mike Huckabee, Sarah Palin, and Mitt Romney, they did not attend, but this is just one of many events to come. And with 60% of Iowa caucus voters describing themselves as evangelical Christians, they likely won't pass up many more opportunities to engage with this crucial voting bloc. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
David just returned to D.C. from Iowa. David, you attended that forum in Iowa. Tell us about the level of excitement there.
Well, Lee, it's palpable. I talked to Ralph Reed, the chairman of the Faith and Freedom Coalition, the organizer of the event, who said that he hasn't seen this much excitement in an Iowa caucus, and he's been doing Iowa caucuses for a while. He hasn't seen this much excitement ever. And so clearly, not only are the organizers of the event excited about it, but if you talk to people on the ground afterwards, which we did, we talked to quite a few of them, they also say they haven't seen anything like this, that there is a buzz in the room, that there are people that are mobilized in Iowa and really all across the country wanting to get President Obama out of office. And so we saw a lot of folks talking about all of these candidates afterwards, everyone from Tim Pawlenty to Herman Cain to Newt Gingrich. Those seem to be the 3 that really struck a chord with folks inside the room in Iowa on Monday.
Were you speaking to folks who attended the forum, and was there a name that came out that maybe wasn't there last night?
Not really. I mean, as a matter of fact, even some Huckabee supporters, and I talked to a few of those in the crowd, they said, look, you know, it's a blank slate now in Iowa.
David, obviously this was an evangelical group last night. These are the voters out there who care very much about the issues of abortion and homosexual rights, anti-homosexual rights. But are they, did you get the feeling they're willing to put those aside for the time being to address the economic issues, particularly the deficit?
Right, not at all. But I don't think I think it's a false argument, and you hear this a lot in the media. Are they willing to put aside those issues. They see abortion and marriage as two extremely important values in a huge value system. So, for example, the national debt is a moral crisis in this country. You'll hear a lot of them talk about that. If you listen to the speakers last night, many of them were not just talking about the life issue and the marriage issue, but they were also talking about many of the Tea Party issues. And so basically what you have here is a much broader value-based package in 2012 than you do in 2008. That doesn't mean the life issue and the marriage issue aren't important. They are, and those are not going to be jettisoned at all. But this is a broader values package in 2012.
David, thanks a lot for your insights. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee.
One political group is calling for the government to cut all funding to National Public Radio. A group called the Tea Party Patriots says a video released today proves NPR is biased. In the undercover video by activist James O'Keefe, a man poses as a Muslim educator. He offers NPR executive Ron Schiller a $5 million donation. Schiller then had some harsh things to say about Christians and Republicans.
The current Republican Party, particularly the Tea Party, is fanatically involved in people's personal lives and very fundamental Christian, and I wouldn't even call it Christian. It's this weird evangelical kind of move.
Schiller goes on to say that the Republican Party had been taken over by white, middle American, gun-toting racists. In a statement, NPR says it was appalled by Schiller's comments. He has since left NPR for another job. Lawmakers gearing up for hearings over the radicalization of Muslims here in the U.S. New York Republican Peter King is heading up the hearings. It will focus on the threat of homegrown terrorism and how Muslims can help law enforcement combat radicalization. Representative King's challenge is to address these issues without attacking peaceful followers of Islam. Critics argue that the hearings, though, will demonize American Muslims. Waleed Ferris joins us now from Washington. Waleed is the author and a terrorism expert. Waleed, do you think something good will actually come of these hearings, or is it just going to be a bunch of political correctness?
I hope that the hearing will basically head towards educating America about what the committee really wants to get to, which is radicalization. It's not about the community. It's not about even theological debate. The American public has mandated this Congress, these members feel, to go and investigate what is causing this radicalization and probably who is causing this radicalization, because we had over the past weeks, months, and years dozens and dozens of self-described jihadists who were attempting to, and some of them have unfortunately been successful in doing acts of terror against the United States. So it's really national security here. We're not talking about theology.
Do you agree, though, that there is a tightrope that Representative King has to walk? I mean, administration officials have always seemed reluctant to link terrorism and Islam. Conservatives are critical of that reluctance. But is there a danger, Waleed, of inciting peace-loving, law-abiding Muslim citizens if they perceive that they're being lumped in with radicals?
Absolutely. And this is why I think Representative King has chosen to begin his first hearing not with experts, not with academics, not with, people from the executive branch. He chose to begin with leaders from the Muslim community of different points of views. You're going to see different points of views. You're going to see members of the community. I thought that would be a first step to send a message that it's not about, America versus the community. It's within the community, a debate about what's going on. The next hearings, I think, will be about the ideology. This is where things will become serious in terms of determining what is behind this radicalization.
What would you like to see the government do with regards to homegrown radicalization, and how prevalent is it?
Well, first of all, if we look at the numbers of the terror act inspired by radicalization between 2001 and 2008, we had one case a year, 1.5 cases a week, a year. Since the early 2008 till now, one case a month. It's mushrooming. So statistics are telling us that the force behind this radicalization is basically producing more jihadists. What needs to be done are two things quickly. The administration needs to establish a national security doctrine that would clarify to the American public, everybody in the American public, that there is an ideology called Salafism, called jihadism, what the Europeans have done, what Arab moderates have done, so we are educated. And number two, to actually work with moderate NGOs from the Muslim community. Same thing is done in Britain, same thing is done in the Arab world, to basically contain the radicalization.
Waleed Ferris, we always appreciate your insights. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Muslim attacks on Christians in Ethiopia have left at least one man dead and thousands homeless. Islamic extremists set fire to 59 churches and 28 Christian homes in Asandabo. The violence spread to outlying towns, and now more than 4,000 Christians have been forced to flee. Compass Direct News reports the violence began when Muslims accused a Christian of desecrating a Quran by ripping out the pages. Today is the 100th anniversary of International Women Freedoms Day. Members of Congress and human rights advocates are using the occasion to draw attention to China's one-child policy. They say women undergo forced sterilization or are offered to abort baby girls.
As many as 100 million missing girls in China. Sex selection abortions targeted simply because they happen to be a little girl. And that's outrageous. And we're calling on the UN, we're calling on the Obama administration to cease their indifference, their enabling, and in the case of the UN Population Fund, they're funding and training for the family planning cadres.
Representative Chris Smith there says Secretary of State Hillary Clinton needs to make this an issue and make it an issue with China, rather. Coming up, a victory for Gaddafi forces loyal to the Libyan dictator take a strategic city.
It has been and remains one of the most feared afflictions of our time. And when you hear the word, you have to ask yourself, will I get cancer? The fact is, as many as 60% of cancer cases can be prevented. Internationally renowned cancer expert Dr. Robert A. Washer's new book, A Cancer Prevention Guide for the Human Race, reviews the science behind cancer risk and prevention. This may be the most important book you will ever read. A Cancer Prevention Guide for the Human Race, available now at Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, Dog Ear Publishing, and other fine booksellers.
When you look in the mirror, can you imagine erasing years of aging?
That's what I used to look like.
Lifestyle Lift takes only about an hour. See the difference immediately.
I'm Linda. I'm 70 years old. Can you believe it?
Call now for a free information kit. It's quick, affordable, and takes only about an hour. Lifestyle Lift, a breakthrough medical procedure that helps remove wrinkles, frown lines, and sagging skin. Call now for a free information kit. Consultations are free. Call Lifestyle Lift today.
Attention investors, now is the time to protect your retirement accounts and investments. Excessive government spending is devaluing the US dollar and high rates of inflation are coming. Gold has tripled since 2001, and some experts predict the prices will climb another 100%. Buy gold now, direct and wholesale with United Gold Group. The demand for gold around the world is higher than ever. Foreign countries like China and India are buying up gold at record rates. Why? What do they know that you don't?
Call now and get your Gold Investors Kit absolutely free. Call in the next 5 minutes and receive The Secret to Owning Gold in Your Retirement Account, also absolutely free. Just call 1-800-758-5070. That's 1-800-758-5070.
This could be the most important call you make this year. United Gold Group, investing in America's future.
The storm system that brought tornadoes to Louisiana has left several northeastern states underwater. The storm brought heavy rain to parts of Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Virginia. 36 counties are under flood warnings. The same storm system dumped 30 inches of snow on Vermont. Forecasters predicting more rain and snow for the region Thursday. Forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi scored a major victory today. They recaptured the rebel-held city of Zawiya. Witnesses say the city is in ruins after the government forces used warplanes to strike at the rebels overnight. Rebels still control several cities, though, to the east of Libya's capital of Tripoli. Opposition leaders claim a member of Gaddafi's government contacted them, though, to discuss the Libyan dictator's departure from the country. Scott Wheeler is an investigative journalist and has worked undercover in Libya. Currently, Scott is with the Republican National Trust Political Action Committee. Scott, what do you make of the recent gains by forces loyal to Gaddafi? Does that mean the rebels may be losing now?
Well, I think it's very complex on the ground there right now. We know that Gaddafi is willing to use ruthless means in order to prevail. And if he decides to go out a martyr, he could light the oil fields on fire. He could do many things to end this in the worst possible way. But it's hard to tell. We do know that the rebel forces are getting help from radical Muslim groups who are pouring in the borders and offering assistance. This is not good in the end, even if they are successful in overthrowing Gaddafi, because it means a very dangerous and radicalized nation that is the world's 17th leading oil exporter.
Yeah, talking about that, it only accounts for 1% of American oil imports, as I understand it, but the trouble there still seems to be hurting us at the gas pump here in the States. What's really behind the spike in prices, do you think?
Well, I think you have a number. The entire Middle East is a little bit chaotic right now. You've got Egypt, which is making a comeback now in terms of stability. But then you've got rumors about the same kind of protests in Saudi Arabia right now. You've got Libya, very dicey at the moment, and 80% of their exports go to Europe. And so I think any damage to the world oil market causes a ripple throughout the world's oil market.
Is there something you'd like to see the administration do or the federal government to ease this burden?
Well, this isn't an administration that's indicated that they have the ability to deal with these kinds of crises. It certainly would help if there was some kind of U.S. action that could, with great precision, ensure Gaddafi's exit and restore a free democratic country in Libya. We just haven't seen the kind of any evidence that this administration is able to do that.
Quickly, how about going back to the oil situation, domestic oil production? Do you really think that Republicans can gain some political ground on Democrats with that issue?
Well, they should try, and I think right now we're seeing that the Obama administration has sat on oil drilling permits, and the Republicans should make it an issue. It is one that is vitally important for the United States to be able to produce domestically. And it's true it might take 5 years to get some of that out of the ground, but 5 years from now we'll be glad we did.
Right. Scott Wheeler, thanks as always for joining us. We appreciate your insights.
My pleasure.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
The doctor said to me, "Peggy, you don't understand. Pancreatic cancer is inoperable and incurable." And he says, "Well, Peggy, you've got 2 months to live." It was like he was telling me, go to the store. There was no compassion. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. My life was an hourglass. I was home, laying on the couch, just dying. My sister Pam called the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. When I got there, I knew that I was going to be cared for. I met with the doctor after the tests were done and said, "How long do I have?" And he looked at me and he said, "Peggy, we did a lot of tests on you, and I never saw one thing stamped on the bottom of your foot that said you were going to die in 2 months. You have no expiration date." I thought, wow.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is unlike any other cancer hospital, full of hope, committed to your fight. We use every weapon: surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, nutrition, spiritual support, and mind-body medicine. We surround you with a real team, working together, all under one roof.
Each time I went back to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, I responded better. My tumors were shrinking. Came back in September again, and they still couldn't see anything. I said, "You're kidding me." We'll see how it goes. We'll keep testing, but we can't see the tumors anymore.
Please call the number on your screen to speak with an oncology information specialist and receive a life-changing information kit and DVD packed with valuable information. Call now and learn about treatment options you may not even know exist.
It's really unbelievable how one doctor can tell me I have 2 months to live. And then I go to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America and they saved my life. Hope is a mainstay. Hope is everything.
Don't give up. Your fight is our fight. Call Cancer Treatment Centers of America today.
The internet, of course, allows people from across the country to get together via webcam. Now Planned Parenthood wants to use that technology to connect doctors with their patients. It's known as a telemed abortion, believe it or not, and the procedure may be coming to your state soon. Heather Sells has the story in tonight's focus.
In more than 60 Iowa counties, you won't find one obstetrician or gynecologist, and certainly no one performing abortions. That's a problem for Planned Parenthood, and a major reason it's investing in telemed abortions. Former Planned Parenthood Director Abby Johnson and other pro-lifers say there's no doubt the national abortion provider is looking at its bottom line. With this technology, it can pay the doctor less and get more results.
If they can find a doctor who's a private practitioner but has an hour during lunch that can get on his computer or get on his BlackBerry and authorize a few abortions, they don't have to have a doctor on site.
Telemed abortions also solve another problem for Planned Parenthood, a shortage of doctors willing to perform them. Planned Parenthood says telemed abortions are needed in more rural areas like Newton, Iowa, where there is no abortion doctor. But pro-lifers say that's just the reason why it's a bad idea, because there is no doctor here.
It's much easier on the abortion provider, but much more difficult on the woman.
Dr. Donna Harrison heads the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. She says telemed abortion is one of the most dangerous ways for a woman to end a pregnancy.
The CDC looked at the risks of dying from an RU46 abortion, and it was tenfold greater than a surgical abortion.
This footage from an Iowa TV station shows a mock telemed abortion consultation.
Good morning, Laura.
The doctor meets the patient over the internet after a nurse practitioner does a physical exam and a sonogram. After discussing the abortion and possible side effects, the doctor pushes a button, releasing a drawer with the abortion pill RU486. The woman takes one pill right then and another at home the next day.
Planned Parenthood is touting this as it's so much better. You'll have your miscarriage experience in the comfort of your home. And are they really allowing these women to understand that they are going to deliver a dead child?
Mifeprex is the trade name for the first abortion pill the woman takes. And on its own website, Mifeprex says its failure rate is 5 to 8%. That means 5 to 8% of women taking this drug will need surgery to safely end their pregnancy or to stop heavy bleeding. It's a tough call for a woman alone at home working through a telemed abortion.
She is on her own to figure out how much is too much bleeding, how much pain is too much pain, how much cramping, and what kind of physical trauma is too much.
Planned Parenthood in Iowa refused CBN's request for an interview on telemed abortions, but last month on National Public Radio, its vice president for medical affairs vigorously defended them.
There's absolutely no evidence that medication abortion through telemedicine is in any way dangerous.
Of course, there's no required tracking of abortion complications in Iowa emergency rooms. That's what the State Department of Health told CBN News when we asked. It's true nationwide as well. A 2006 congressional report noted that emergency rooms have no obligation whatsoever to report adverse events for RU486, even assuming the healthcare worker knows what happened. And they might not, since the abortion pill's side effects often mimic a natural miscarriage. More than 2,000 telemed abortions have already been performed here in Iowa, but Planned Parenthood says it won't stop here. It's telling supporters it plans to go nationwide with this new model.
They seem to think that if it can pass in the heartland, in the Midwest, then it can pass anywhere.
Iowa pro-lifers like Steve Brody say they want to stop telemed abortions before they go out of state. During their annual lobby day this month, Iowa pro-lifers gathered in the Capitol with a major focus on telemed abortions. Their strategy, a bill that would require doctors prescribing RU486 to meet the patient in person.
This is about the health and welfare of that mother and the concerns that are legitimate concerns.
Pro-life advocates across the country say other states should consider such legislation now and stop telemed abortions before they become a national trend. In doing so, they could save the lives of countless unborn children and protect the health of their mothers as well. Reporting in Iowa, Heather Sells, CBN News.
The Arizona House has just passed a bill outlawing telemed abortion. The state Senate there is expected to approve it, and Arizona would be the first state in the country with such a law. We'll be right back.
The doctor said to me, Peggy, you don't understand. Pancreatic cancer is inoperable and incurable. And he says, well, Peggy, you've got 2 months to live. It was like he was telling me, go to the store. There was no compassion. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. My life was an hourglass. I was home, laying on the couch, just dying. My sister Pam called the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. When I got there, I knew that I was going to be cared for. I met with the doctor after the tests were done and said, how long do I have? And he looked at me and he said, Peggy, we did a lot of tests on you, and I never saw one thing stamped on the bottom of your foot that said you were going to die in 2 months. You have no expiration date. I thought, wow.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is unlike any other cancer hospital, full of hope, committed to your fight. We use every weapon: surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, nutrition, spiritual support, and mind-body medicine. We surround you with a real team, working together, all under one roof.
Each time I went back to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, I responded better. My tumors were shrinking. Came back in September again, and they still couldn't see anything. I said, you're kidding me. We'll see how it goes. We'll keep testing, but we can't see the tumors anymore.
Please call the number on your screen to speak with an oncology information specialist and receive a life-changing information kit and DVD packed with valuable information. Call now and learn about treatment options you may not even know exist.
It's really unbelievable how one doctor can tell me I have 2 months to live. And then I go to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and they saved my life. Hope is a mainstay. Hope is everything.
Don't give up. Your fight is our fight. Call Cancer Treatment Centers of America today.
A California couple is hosting a yard sale to make amends with their neighbors. But it's not really a sale. Mainly it's a chance for neighbors to reclaim their missing items. And the thief? Well, there he is, a cat named Dusty. The cat burglar, if you will, was featured on the Animal Planet after stealing small items around the neighborhood. His owners say it's a full-time job just to return the items day after day, until now.
Dusty brought all these things, and what we're hoping for is the owners to come and claim it.
I found my shoe.
And this is mine. I didn't even know it was gone.
He had a full bath towel in his mouth. And, you know, the cat's got a little mouth.
Daddy, are these mine? Daddy, are these all mine?
Some underwear. Dusty took all these things.
We got burglarized and we didn't even know it.
Don't leave anything outside that you don't want gone. And if you're missing something, come to our house.
That's amazing. Dusty's notoriety has not only landed him on TV, he's also been asked to be the grand marshal in the town's upcoming pet parade. But hold on to your belongings. Dusty will be there. That's all for this edition of NewsWatch. Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. And we hope you'll join us next time. Good night.